Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email us Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase, pricing, and availability questions regarding this watch. And today we are discussing one of my favorite watches of all time in my favorite form, the white gold Ulysse Nardin Sonata Cathedral. It is, of course, the cathedral gong version of Ulysse Nardin's minute repeater-like alarm watch with white gold case, a double date, a countdown-style alarm, also settable in a 24-hour format, a minute repeater-style governor, and cathedral gong chimes. It is the minute repeater of alarm watches. So the original Sonata came out in 2003, and over subsequent years, a display case back, and then the cathedral gongs were added to improve the user experience. It's a large watch, but not a huge watch, 42 millimeters in diameter in white gold. Taking a look in profile, 13.6 millimeters thick from lug tip to lug tip, 50 millimeters with a 21 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Now, when I throw the watch on my wrist, you can see it wears really nicely, but the strap is kind of stiff. So you have to break the strap in and get some of that stiffness out of the way before it's really going to fit perfectly. But I would say you could wear this watch on a wrist my size or larger, so 16 centimeters circumference and up. And although it's not a super thick watch, it's made even more compatible with a sleeve or a cuff by the fact that the bezel is dramatically concave and sloped, so a sleeve can ramp up and over this watch. It's a hefty watch, and you can feel where the money was spent. The quality is self-evident. Taking a look at the strap, you can see it is a Ulysse Nardin factory strap, calfskin on the bottom, brand new, no crimping, no gouging. On the top, we have that lovely nautical blue that is the symbol of the Ulysse Nardin Company. We have a conforming profile, so the strap matches both the curvature of the case and the downward curve of the lugs. You can see it's generously bolstered with stuffing to give it some volume. Well, this creates a very integrated and handsome look with no daylight visible between strap and case. It does create a little bit of stiffness, particularly when the strap has yet to be broken in, but that will improve with time. The watch uses large rectangular scale alligator leather and a symmetrical scale layout, meaning this is a very expensive and high-grade cut of the animal. We have a folded edge with a monotone stitch, and then we have a Ulysse Nardin branded trigger-actuated double folding clasp. You can see internally we have ceramic spring-loaded pin snaps so that the white gold of the clasp can never wear down the pin snap, so the closure will always remain snappy. We have a twin trigger release system right here, so you have to press these in to unleash and unbuckle the clasp, and you really want that on a heavy and expensive watch. You want a clasp that's not going to fly open, that requires positive release action and not accidental, so I like to see those triggers there. Internally, you can see Media Blast as well as Polish, the UN logo, and the buckle, like the watch, is made of white gold. You can also see the Ulysse Nardin logo and anchor externally, reminding you that Ulysse Nardin, in the 19th century and early 20th century, famous for its deck clocks or navigation chronometers, marine chronometers. And so you can see the Ulysse Nardin nautical blue, the anchor on the dial. You can see it also on the crown profile. The lugs are fluted, which gives them a little bit of articulation. You can also see that they are welded to the case, a very slow-going, handmade case assembly method, and so you have to insert the lug into a slot in the case, weld them together, and then use hand tools to create that filed sharp break between case and lug. Taking a quick look at the crown, you can see the logo here in gold on a blue lacquered base with what I believe to be an acrylic cap. We have the individual numbering on the bezel. We have a system that allows you to adjust the local hour hands. This is a GMT as well as an alarm. And you see how easily I can make those adjustments using the plus-minus system. You can also appreciate that I'm able to set the alarm in different formats. So if I want, I can set it as a 24-hour countdown, or I can set it using conventional clock time. So that's my choice. I have a lot of flexibility. I also have here a double-digit date. Well, let's get that back in place. I have a double-digit date that uses a quick set. Sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to find the slot for that. And so you can see how the system allows you to set the date in both directions. I want to make sure I don't displace anything too much right here. You see how I have an on-off toggle for the alarm? And then on the reverse, you can see the repeater style striker. And the centrifugal governor that slows the rate of discharge. And so this system right here slows down the chime so it doesn't sound like an alarm clock, but rather a progressive, enduring chime. And it has enough volume that will wake you up in the morning if you're traveling. I always consider that to be mandatory on an alarm watch. We'll do a quick loom shot right here. And then you can see that the dial is layered and complex with a combination of steel bezels for the alarm setting. You can see we have an overlay atop Côte de Genève, so an unusual use of Côte de Genève on a dial. We have both fired blue and polished screws. And of course, we've got the secondary time zone down at the bottom. So the way you do this is you set that first. Taking a look at how you set the alarm. And then taking a look at how you set all of the time in sync. And you can see how that secondary 24-hour time zone changes. Then what you do is you replace the crown and you use the GMT plus minus pushers for your local time zone. Now, an important thing to note here is that a lot of people don't know how this watch is wound. You wind it by turning the crown counterclockwise, and it'll just come to a stop when you reach the full mainspring for the alarm. So you wind the time like this, if you must wind manually, and then you wind the alarm in the opposite direction. Taking a quick look at the case back, this movement has roots as the automatic base of a Le Mans chronograph, but it has been so heavily modified by Ulysse Nardin that it may as well be considered a manufacturer movement. It has 109 joules, automatic winding on ceramic bearings for efficiency, a 48-hour power reserve, a 4 hertz beat rate. It features the GMT, it features the alarm, the bidirectional quickset for the big date, and then you can see that the decoration is quite attractive. It uses a magic lever-style bidirectional pawl-based winding system and this lovely multiply finished 22-karat white gold rotor with the inset anchor and then cathedral or cathédrale. And what that means is that the gongs in this version of the Sonata go around the movement 1.5 times instead of once. So conventional gongs go around once. Cathedral gongs, which have a more lyrical and musical tone, those go around the movement 1.5 times. You can see that the decoration is a combination of hand and mechanical finishing, but quite accomplished and quite attractive, frankly. Also, take note that the movement is a good match for the size of the watch, and that all this is 30 meters water resistant. If you love this watch, and I know I do, reach out to Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase and pricing details. Oh, one more note. Might be the only watch I've ever encountered that actually has a concave crystal over the dial. It is simply full of surprise and delight features.